All right, Prop the Mic, presented by Props.cash. Dave and Tom back in the house. Feels like it's been a while. I think that's maybe because Monday's pod was a little bit different with Jean-Jacques, and I don't know, just been kind of neck deep in NBA analytics all week. So I don't know. It feels like it's been a while. Good to be back. How you doing, Dave?
It's good. You're right. I think we had 3 consecutive pods with guests. So this is nice to love those guys. Loved having them all on. Very exciting. Makes for a great pod. But it is nice to get back to just chatting with you and figuring out some great picks for tonight.
Back to the basics. Let's do it.
Back to the basics. Real quickly, wrapped up WNBA last night. Crushing defeat. I got my Liberty hat on in solidarity. But it was fun, man, and the season turned out pretty good for us. Considering we knew nothing about WNBA to start the season, we ended up trying to pull up the record here. We ended up 72-51 on the season, which is about a 59% record, which is pretty good because most of that actually came in the second half of the season. We hit about 70% in the second half of the season. So I can't wait for next season. But we got a lot of other basketball, men's basketball, to focus on before then.
Yes, we got the success started to come after I learned how to pronounce Asia Wilson's name. Then we started to get better. Yeah,
definitely. The funniest thing is my wife said to me "Oh, when does the NBA season start?" And I was like, "It starts next Tuesday." It's just like, wait, so there's only 4 days of no basketball for the rest of my life. But yeah.
That's how it works.
That's how it works. They finally
got some good scheduling done, right? That's we complain about the scheduling, but in general, NBA, WNBA, they do it very well. So there's no gap in without basketball.
Yeah. But speaking of NBA, we're gonna have some exciting little promos for next week. Some giveaways again, like we did at the beginning of the NFL season. We're gonna be putting out some more content on the Props.cash blog, which will be exciting, and we're going to be introducing some more pods. So just stay tuned. If you're a big NBA fan, it's coming.
A lot coming. A lot coming down the pike with a lot of research to do. We're going to have to
figure out how to
squeeze all this in, but we'll do it.
We'll make it work. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about Thursday Night Football. Actually, I was analyzing our results. You saw we posted, I think we're up 49 units already on the NFL season. Got some big hits in there with Breece Hall that helped push that up. But overall, we've been profitable since week 1, and Thursday's actually been our most profitable day between Thursday, Sunday, and Monday. So let's keep the trend going with the Jags at the Saints. Jags are 4-2 on the season. Saints are 3-3. Saints are -1, and the total in this game, at least when I wrote this yesterday, was 40 points. So that's gonna be ugly. What's the latest on Trevor Lawrence? He's kind of still a game time decision.
Total game time decision. He's been practicing and prepping all week, he's going to play. It's a knee sprain, right? So and anything I could get was that it's going to be come down to the line. So we might not know until an hour or so before the game starts.
Yeah, it's hard to know if they're throwing out all this optimism to just throw off the Saints and their game planning, or if he truly is going to give it a go. But I would say, if I had to guess, he'll give it a shot tonight.
I think so. Yeah.
Right? It kind of feels that way.
I'm feeling that. Yeah.
Anyway, I think most of our plays are on the Saints side, so that's probably okay. Let's kick it off with the quarterbacks. You want to start with the Saints? You got anything for your favorite quarterback, Mr. Fade? You faded him for the season-long play, Derek Carr.
Yes. I don't know. This is a weird game. I'm staying away from the quarterbacks, obviously, on the Jacksonville side, because we don't know who's going to be quarterbacking. And on the other side, so this is weird. Saints have the worst pass rush win rate, talking about defensively. But Jacksonville's offensive line has the worst pass block win rate. So weird mismatch there. Kind of makes sense. It feels like the right sort of matchup on a Thursday, weird Thursday night game here.
Right.
So I don't know, just staying away. It doesn't get much better on the other side of the ball in terms of Jacksonville on defense. They're 23rd in pass rush win rate. Saints are 27th in pass block win rates. Doesn't shape up as a nice mismatch in either direction. I do have a couple receiving plays that I like, but in terms of quarterbacks, nothing I'm going to get on in this game. What about you?
I got some things to talk about for Derek Carr. Again, I think you're if I interpreted your intro there, it's play cautious on this game. It's not the best game for overs, at least, right?
Correct.
Is that a fair statement?
That's a fair statement. As in general, all these Thursday night games seem to, though we've done pretty well with them. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at a couple things I want your opinion on. The first is just let's just have some fun with this. Derek Carr rushing yards, one half a rushing yard, half a yard rush, minus 130 on DK. He's done it in 3 straight games, 4 out of 6 this year. I see a bunch of kneel downs in that Carolina game that got him to -4. That's a little concerning because the Saints are favored in this game. And if Lawrence doesn't play, they'll probably win. They're probably going to win anyway. So there is possibility that you get like 2 or 3 negative yards at the end of the game from kneel downs. If that happens, this is probably done. But what I did like, if you look at the other filter on props.cash, why is that
21-23 season? You're only in 23.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. Look at those rushing yards on non-Sunday Monday games. 2 of those, I believe, the 11-25 game versus Dallas and the 12-8 game versus LA. Those were the 2 Thursday night games that he's played in the last 3 years or 2.5 years. So 21 rushing yards, 11 rushing yards. These are obviously dating back to when he was on Vegas, but nevertheless, he seems to take off a little bit on these non-Sunday Monday games. So I'm going to roll the dice.
Anything on Mondays? Anything on Mondays?
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. I didn't look at that. Yeah, Monday's not too bad either.
I mean, I kind of equate Monday to Thursday night somewhat, a little bit. So, and that's pretty promising too, I think.
Yeah, Sundays, But anyway, I think in this type of game, it could be messy. I think he might take off for a couple rushes. So I think that's worth like maybe a quarter unit play. It's obviously there's a little element of luck involved, but I could see him scrambling for 2 or 3 yards. What do you think?
You love these. You just can't resist these half a yard overs.
The sheer excitement that you get when you see him take off, but then the anxiety that you feel the rest of the game when you're concerned about him kneeling down.
You hope he runs for tries to get it for 5 yards for a first down or something like that.
Yeah,
scrambling, and then you should be good. Hopefully,
exactly.
The rest of the game, even if they do kneel down a few times.
All right. So that's enough about that. Let's talk quickly just about his passing touchdowns. I think he's in a good under spot for passing touchdowns. The Jags defense isn't exactly the best at defending the pass, but nevertheless, he's only hit this in 1 out of 6 games this season, and 0 for 2 in New Orleans, right? So I think he's in a good spot to end up with 1 touchdown. You can get under 1.5 passing touchdowns for -135 on DK. It looks like it's going up -140. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good bet in in a 39.5 point or whatever it is now total on a Thursday night. Given the history, seems like a good spot for a fade here.
Yeah, and if you scroll down on props.cash, you look at the where was it? The passing touchdowns for opposing quarterbacks. There's only one quarterback who's actually cleared his line this year. That's CJ Stroud, and even elite quarterbacks like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes have not. So they're getting yards, but they're not getting the ball in the end zone, probably because they're rushing it in or something like that. But anyway, I think that's a good under spot. It probably fits well with the game script. So I'll do a half unit.
That's a good one. I like that. Nice.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the wide receiver spot. We've already talked about our favorite play. You want to just recap really quickly why we like Alvin Kamara, 29.5 receiving yards?
Yeah, so love it seems to be a PTM favorite here so far in our NFL handicapping, public handicapping history here. But receptions to running backs is a nice target, and Jacksonville is one of the best to target. Second most receptions and second most targets to opposing running backs. 39 of 45, nice percentage there too. I also like them after the catch. This is for all receivers in general against Jacksonville. 5th in yards after catch, 5th in yards after contact. So having trouble bringing receivers down. Also like this for explosive plays. First overall in receptions of 40-plus yards with 6 on the season, averaging 1 a week of 40-plus yards against Jacksonville. So those are all the reasons we were on Kamara. Line's gone up a little bit after a little dip there yesterday, but back up. I see it at 30.5 on FanDuel, 31.5 on DK. I think it's still probably good at those lines. What do you think?
Yeah, I love this play. You and I both, yesterday started our analysis on this game, and this was the first play that we both came up with. That's why we wanted to publish it out yesterday early, so the line didn't rise on everybody. So hopefully you guys locked that one in already. Real quick, before we move off of Kamara, and I am going to come back to him because I have a few parlays with him as well later. But there's one other play on Kamara. I told you before the show, plus 410.
Let me hear it.
You excited?
I am very excited.
FanDuel has this little prop bet you can do, which says Which receiver for the Saints will catch the first reception?
Oh, I saw that. I saw that this morning. All right.
I hadn't seen that one before. I'm sure it's been up there for a couple of weeks, but that was the first time I saw it. So Kamara is plus 410. I think maybe Olave is the best one to go after. So I looked at the 3 games that Kamara has played this season so far with Carr, right? Since he was suspended for the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
First game versus the Bucks, Kamara had the first catch. Shaheed had the second. The second game versus the Patriots, Kamara had the first catch. Michael Thomas had the second. Third game versus the Texans, which was last week, I think, Kamara had the first catch and the second catch. So
Wow.
in all 3 games that Kamara has played in so far with Derek Carr, he has the first catch in all 3 games. He's also receiving, catching 92% of his targets. So basically, as long as he's targeted, he's pretty much going to catch that ball. And they're all like just little dinks, right? Like nothing downfield. So, so I love that play. Plus 410 when he's basically 3 for 3 playing with Carr. Like I'm gonna put something on that one because I think that's a really good value. I understand the true receivers are going to have the better odds, but history is telling us play Kamara at plus 410. You like that?
Not only do I like it, I almost texted you this bet this morning. It was, I think it was because I was down there looking at all receptions, and it's right below there in FanDuel, and I'm like, this is interesting. And I think it was actually plus 370 or plus 380 at the time this morning. So even better, or longer odds now. But I can't believe all 3 games that he's played, he's had the first catch in all 3.
First catch in all 3, and last week he had the first and second catch. So he's an early favorite, and quite honestly, like that's not just luck. Like teams have their first drive scripted out, right? So clearly that's like play number 1. One of those games, I think he received the ball as a handoff before the first catch, but then he got the second play was a reception to him. So
Alvin Kamara all day.
I mean, that's such a fun one too. You just watch the first Saints drive, and you either cash it or you don't, and whatever. So don't go crazy on it because there is an element of luck behind it. But I think at plus 410, that's a minimum quarter unit on that one. That's really good.
Yeah, I like that. I'd send you. I was also looking for some long odds on Kamara. I think I sent you race to 20 receiving yards. He was like plus 1,200 or something. I like this one much better. Great call out.
All right, cool. Who else do you like from the Saints receiving standpoint?
Saints receiving. All right. So here's what I like against the Jacksonville defense here. They've allowed the second most quarterback pass attempts, 39 a game. So regardless, I think you see a lot of passes here based on what we've seen in the past from Carr. They've allowed the most completions of 40-plus yards. That's 8 on the season, and the second most completions of 10-plus yards. I just wanted to look at like the high end and the lower end. They're giving up a lot of explosive long plays to receivers. And then if you look at wide receivers against Jacksonville, they've given up the most receptions of 40-plus yards. So most completions of 40-plus by quarterbacks, most receptions of 40-plus by wide receivers. So I think if you look up, I think Shaheed, I didn't know who to pick, so I want to like run this by you. Like the long is nice on him at 18.5, minus 120 on DK. But even like, I don't know. This is the only problem I had. I like him. I like Michael Thomas, and I like Olave. Like for these longs, I mean, they're all pretty good. And then look at Thomas too. You might get that line lower. I don't know. I didn't know who to pick of the 3. Shaheed's like the long, the deep threat, but he doesn't get as many targets. Whereas like Olave and Thomas, Olave's getting a ton of targets. But he did get a decent number of targets last week, right? And uptick.
Yeah. One of these weeks we were on him, maybe the Green Bay game or something. He only had 2 targets. But if you look, I mean, he's had 6+ targets in 3 out of the 6 games this year, 4 in one of them. Considering that's like his game, I think at 19.5, or if you can get that down to 18.5, I think that's a great play.
I just feel like you got more chances with Thomas and Olave there, and it's still 4 of 6. They've all 3 of them have cleared in 4 of 6, I believe.
Yeah, they have. Thomas seems to be like hugging the line a lot, but I mean Olave is probably the best bet there just because he's had 10+ targets in 4 out of the 6 games. I don't know what caused this dip here. I didn't really look at how those games ended, but maybe they were ahead and running the ball or something like that. But But yeah, I don't know. Olave probably is the most logical bet, but Shaheed is definitely the best long ball threat. So
Yeah, I think one of those two. I think. Yeah.
Honestly, there's an element of luck behind the longest reception. So what I would probably do is play both of them at half a unit instead of playing one at 1 unit and maybe get them both to cash.
Great point.
Okay. All right. What else? Anything else on the Saints side?
On the Saints side, no. That's all I got.
Okay. Let's move to the Jacksonville side. Well, we'll probably skip the quarterback, right? You got anything on Lawrence or anything? Or?
No.
Yeah, it's just not really worth analyzing without knowing if he's playing.
I don't think, even if he was, I don't think I'd have a play. It's not, nothing great's really popping out for me. But yeah,
it's not a great matchup. Receivers, I think same thing, right? You have anything there?
I do. I have one.
Oh, you do.
I do. Okay. Yeah. So I like Evan Engram over 4.5 receptions. It's minus 135 on DK. I like his targets. I know I got on this. I look at the upward downward trends on targets. 5, 8, 8, 8, 8, 7 over the first 6 weeks of the season. So obviously, you have it there. 5 of 6 games. I also like, if you don't like the minus 135, you could do on DK 40 yards and 5 receptions at plus 102. If you go to his yards, you see 40's a nice number for him. He's done all that in 5 of 6 as well. So I think this beautiful Saints, the Saints defense has allowed the 6th most targets to opposing tight ends. And given the volume he's getting, I think this is a very good play.
Yeah, I love that. I love that correlated parlay too. I don't see him getting 5 catches for less than 40 yards. So yeah. I think that's a great way of, what did you say, it was plus 102?
Plus 102 for the parlay, yeah.
Yeah, 40 yards, 5 catches. I mean, to me, that's better value than just playing
the receptions.
The receptions. So I love that. It's so great that they'll let you put those highly correlated plays together. So good. I like that one a lot.
And I think, like we mentioned in the past, if you do get the backup quarterback in, tight end is a spot that they'll go to. It's not as deep, less risky, spot. So I could see his volume ticking up here.
Call that the Zach Wilson theory of quarterbacking, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Anybody else on the Jacksonville side?
Running back. I have something on Etienne, but
yeah, go to Etienne, and then like I said, I have a couple parlays to talk about, so we'll go there last.
All right. So the best matchup we have on the board here today is this rushing matchup with the Saints defense against Jacksonville on offense. Saints have the 3rd best run stop win rate, whereas Jacksonville's offensive line has the 3rd worst run block win rate. So I like a under on Etienne here, 68.5. It was minus 110 on FanDuel. Scroll down to look at what running backs have done against New Orleans. Derrick Henry, what?
No, I was just going to say, look at the disparity too. FanDuel's a really good deal at 68.5. The DraftKings had this, and Caesar's at 64.5. So definitely.
This has come down. It was that high yesterday on those books.
Yeah, so you're pointing us to this rushing yards versus New Orleans, which is what we posted on X earlier today. It's like a phenomenal feature that saves so much time.
So much time. This is something we would do all the time, is to go see what opposing guys have done. Yeah, this is amazing.
And I love the visual on the hit rates, and the historical lines too is something that's hard to find, right? So this is so great. And I think you're pointing out the fact that there's one check and a ton of X's, right?
And even the one check was at 56 yards, and Etienne's at 68.5. So I think this is a nice spot. My only hesitation is that if Lawrence is hurt, or if the backup's in, like, do they lean on him more? Does he see more carries, whatnot, just because of the situation? Possibly, but I still think this is a pretty good play. I like this quite a bit.
Yeah, I like it too. I have a feeling this is going to be one of those games that wraps up at 10:30 at night. Like it's just going to be so much. I don't know. They're just going to have low risk plays, keep the ball, and the clock's just going to move. So I think to get to 69 yards is a lot. If you look at his longest rush, he's actually had a couple big long rushes, right? 26, 16, 35, and 22. So that actually accounts for a significant portion of the 3 games where he went over. I don't see him. I mean, he could always break for a big one, but I don't see him doing that against the Saints today.
Agreed. Yeah.
So I think with that in mind, if you look, KC, Atlanta, Indy, KC held them to 9 longest, 7 longest, and Indy had a 22. But I think that's more what we're going to be looking at in this game.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was a nice spot. And that line's high enough. If it was closer to 60, like those books where it's at 64, it starts to get a little hairy for me there. But if you can get it at 68, closer to 70 here to go under, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, go grab it at FanDuel before it moves.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think about Etienne receptions? We were talking about receptions earlier. Fairly consistent, right? 5-3, 4-3, 4-3. So not really getting the 4 receptions, but does clear 3 receptions most games. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I like that too. As like with an injured Lawrence or the backup in there, as a check down, that frequency might increase in this game due to that situation. So yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah. So one of the parlays that I liked was Etienne 3 receptions and Kamara 3 receptions.
What do you get for that?
Plus 100 on FanDuel, right? So both running backs to get 3 catches.
Even higher, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, the other option too is put Kamara at 4 receptions, right?
Yeah,
which he's done in 2 out of the 3 games, and put Etienne at 2 receptions, which he's done in all 5 games, all 6 games, I think. Minus 114.
Not bad.
Not bad.
We're building a little ladder here.
Or you can do Kamara. This is the other one I did. Kamara at 3 receptions, Etienne at 2 receptions, Calvin Ridley at 3 receptions. That's minus 106.
Gonna put my boy Evan Engram in there, man.
He wasn't available on FanDuel. It looks like this says he's there, but oh no, he wasn't there for alt receptions.
These are all alted lines. That's right. I did look at that.
Yeah, I was definitely gonna put him in there. But anyway, I think some combination of the running backs for receptions. I don't know what this one will give you, but you could probably do Kamara at like 6 or 7. Kamara at 6 receptions alone
plus 178.
Plus 178. Yeah. 7 receptions, which he's done in 2 out of the 3 games, is plus 300. So I think I love that FanDuel is offering these alted receptions. I think it's such good value. I think some combination of Etienne with 2 or 3 receptions and Kamara with anywhere between 3 to 6 receptions, whatever risk you want to take. I think something in there is really nice, and you can get a nice parlay out of that.
Here's the one I like: Kamara 5 plus, Etienne 3 plus 213. Beautiful.
That's beautiful. That's great. Love that. So I think that's nice to play with those 2 guys.
Yep. Love that.
All right, cool. So what else? You got anything else in this game?
That's it. I don't think we should put our neck on the line for too much more here. I think this is, how these Thursday night games go.
Yeah. Last Thursday was we were enjoying the game in KC, and then the one before that we were watching Justin Fields.
That's right.
March down the field. So I think hopefully we have another great one in a row. But yes, you're right. This is a 40-point game. Not the best matchup. Play lightly, but I think you got some good spots here, especially some big plus money spots where if you sprinkle a little money, you could do pretty well. So that's it.
Nice. All right. Well, maybe we'll get another play up or not, but we did put our favorite up already. So get those Kamara bets in, and we will be back tomorrow with the big Sunday main slate pod. So let's lock those bets in and make some money.